This episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. Contact us today to learn how you can be a part of the vibration experience. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Vibration, where we empower individuals to speak their distinct truth, passions, and personal message on a global online stage. I'm your host, Michelle McDonald, passionate foodie, author, and entrepreneur. And tonight we are diving into a huge aspect of Bahamian culture, which is art, with our topic, bringing the world of calligraphy to life through art. Our very special guest speaker is Leanne Key, who is a hand lettering artist based in Nassau, Bahamas. She picked up hand lettering as a hobby during her teenage years when she inadvertently signed up for technical drawing during junior high school. Leanne started Nassau Script Co in 2017 after taking on odd hand lettering and calligraphy jobs for family and friends over previous years. Nassau Script Co has since evolved over the years from just wedding signage to classes to full-on crafting business. When she's not working on client projects or teaching, you can find Leanne learning how to make her favorite foods from scratch, crafting cocktails and coffee, as well as dabbling with carpentry. Although she is a creative entrepreneur, Leanne does not believe in monetizing every creative skill you possess. She believes in exploring other art forms with no other intention than to simply enjoy the arts. In the future, Leanne hopes to produce more mindfulness resources for creative entrepreneurs and freelance artists to help manage stress, anxiety, and promote good overall mental health. Leanne, welcome to the stage tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yes, I can't wait to get into it. I know a lot of people have seen your work everywhere. Your signs are popping up, weddings, engagements, birthdays, a lot of events. And they want to know a lot more about what Nassau Script is all about. So let's dive a bit deeper and we'll go into the concept of what your business, Nassau Script Co, is all about and why you chose to highlight modern calligraphy over other forms of traditional hand lettering.
Well, that sounds like a whole slew of questions in one question. So I'm just going to start with that last bit, why I chose modern calligraphy over other forms of traditional calligraphy. And the reason that I did that was because calligraphy in its technical sense can get really specific in terms of the various styles. And modern calligraphy allows you to have a bit of your personality into your calligraphy. There are no real rules with modern calligraphy, and you could really tailor it to the event. You can make it a little bit more whimsical, you could make it a little bit more bouncy and flowy, and you can really match not only your personal style, but the style that your client wishes to capture with the piece that you're creating for them. Yeah, I think that sums it up.
Awesome. That's really good. And what is the concept of your business, Nassau Script Co?
So Nassau Script Co combines calligraphy and hand lettering elements. So a lot of the signage that you see is actually a form of hand lettering or calligraphy that gives you that calligraphy look, but it's not true calligraphy. Calligraphy is typically a writing style that is produced with a flexible tool like a paintbrush, a nib, a brush pen, those kinds of instruments, whereas hand lettering can be done in various different styles, in various just different instruments. So I kind of married those two in order to create Nassau Script Co that offers modern calligraphy on paper and an engraving to hand lettered signs for weddings, events, as well as some foil stamping, non-traditional foil stamping, and almost anything that you want to write on, I can write on for you.
Nice. And so I know with the evolving of your company, and I love the fact that you touched on all the services that you offer, because we're kind of really familiar with your signage, but there's so much more that Nassau Script Co actually offers.
Right.
And you also give us the opportunity to make a few calligraphy items of our own. Is that correct?
Yes. So occasionally I do offer classes with QC, with I Poinciana Paper Press, which is a new home for book arts in the Bahamas. We do a happy hour calligraphy session 1 to 2 times a month, depending on the season. And then we have 4 week courses that culminate into you creating something really special. What I enjoy most is the happy hour classes, because with those classes, the class is condensed. We focus on one word, so you can see your progress over a 2 hour period, which is really fun to do, especially with those people who feel like they have terrible handwriting, which I should let you know is not a requirement for practicing calligraphy.
Nice. You hear that, everyone? Anyone can learn how to do calligraphy. You can do those nice brush strokes, create those letters, envelopes. We've all seen those tumblers. You can kind of do that. So, we all got potential. We all got potential. So one thing I admire about your work is that everything is handmade. You are extremely intentional about preserving the authenticity of your work. And it shows a dedication to your craft as well. Tell us why it was so important in a world where you can use a lot of different types of equipment to make it faster or maybe even simpler. Why it was important to you to keep it handmade?
I really like, personally, gifts that have intention, that you can feel the energy of the giver, something that feels personalized and custom for the receiver. Why I wanted to preserve that and give that to my clients is because I know that a lot of people like the idea of having something that's personalized in such an intimate and elegant fashion, but they don't necessarily want to do it themselves, or they don't want to take the risk and do it. So what I do with Nassau Script Company is I take away that stressful element of, oh, I can't do it, and I help you personalize those gifts. I help you set the intention for those gifts, and people's faces really do light up when they see items that are customized with their names, with their company's names. That is really something special. And what's the difference between if you were to digitally render something as opposed to handwriting something is you can actually feel the ink on top of the paper. It gives a different level of elegance and a different level of quality when it's handwritten and hand produced. It also helps you to, from an artist standpoint, there's really something soothing about practicing calligraphy, which is also why I encourage my clients to take one of my classes, because there's such intentionality and deliberateness, and it's such a slow art that you have no other option but to focus on this one thing that you're doing. So that's really helpful if you want to practice mindfulness, if you want a little stress relief in the middle of the day. That part of my business is what I really enjoy. So sometimes when I'm doing envelopes, I'll light a candle, I'll set some soothing music, and I'll just get to work on all the envelopes I have. And that slow, repetitious work is so soothing and therapeutic.
Awesome. I love that you brought that aspect to light, which is a sense of mindfulness, because we often see an artist's work and we don't understand the intention that really goes behind it. Them having to kind of be in that headspace, be one with the brush, seeing themselves or their clients in the aftermath of the work that they have produced. And also touching on that aspect of mental health. You have stated that that is a huge part of your future plans, wanting to bring more of that to artists, helping them to reduce anxiety and stress. And through your classes, it sounds as though you're also able to do that for your clients and future calligraphers. Why was that something that touched you?
As an artist and a freelancer, I think that so much of what we produce is tied to our self-worth, and our productivity is tied to our self-worth. And I think that sometimes in our effort to make a living and monetize our art, you lose the joy in producing art, especially because not everything you put out people are gonna like. So there's sometimes you create a piece and you're like, oh my God, this is the piece that's gonna go viral, and it doesn't go viral, and there's a sense of, oh, did I do something wrong, and maybe this wasn't right, and you carry that weight of your work is literally your face. So it's like everywhere you drop off your work, you're leaving a bit of yourself there, and whatever criticism that piece gets, you kind of internalize that and you take that on. But with calligraphy and practicing mindfulness through calligraphy, I'm realizing how important it is to not tie up so much of you in your work.
Yeah.
There are some pieces people are going to love. There's some people are not going to love so much. And there's some days you're going to do an entire body of work in a short period of time. And there's sometimes you need more space to get work done. Or your productivity is no indication of your self-worth. And that is something that I had to come to grips with in this 5 years of business, because sometimes you could get so discouraged. And as an artist, a working artist, you know that if you do not produce, you do not get paid. So you don't have time to have down days of, oh, is this good enough? Or to second guess yourself. You have to create a sustainable way to run your business, and holding criticism or holding mistakes so dear to your heart is not sustainable. So the reason why mental health is so important to me is because I am a highly sensitive person, and I finally came to realize that within this business, like there's so many things that I was taking to heart, but you can't carry that burden and produce art in the same space. Perfection and progress that can't sit in the same seat. So you have to keep pushing forward, moving forward, leaving what you need to leave behind, taking what you need to take from that lesson, and just practice, like I said, mindfulness in your practice and in your art, in the progress of your art. And that's the only way that you can really be sustainable as a working paid artist.
So true. And I honestly feel as though you are speaking to a lot of Bahamian creatives out there, especially artists. They can relate to your message in knowing that, you know, I am putting myself out there every time I display a piece of my work, whether it is signage, whether it's a piece of art that I put on display and, you know, you purchase it right away. And, you know, I feel so exposed, and it's trying to understand, like, how do I contain this and remain confident and sure in myself and ready to produce whenever it's needed. And you have truly given them something valuable to walk away with, understanding that it's not a representation of your value and that your quality is high regardless.
And just to go back to your original question about why did I decide to have everything handmade, just to like bring this full circle, sometimes I think that as artists and as creatives, you watch the trends, and it's very easy to want to do everything because you feel like that's going to be most profitable. But sometimes in the doing of everything, or especially in your field, because it's easy to grasp at all the things in your field, and you convince yourself that this is the right thing to do because this comes under the umbrella of lettering, and you know, if I do it with this machine and that machine, then that makes it makes it viable. But the thing about that is, and what the danger is that you can get caught up in doing so many things and so many pieces of equipment that what you thought was profitable is inefficient and it's too much cost in the front end. So you don't see that return on your investment until much later, and you still in that you're still in the trenches, and that burnout creeps up on you so quickly. So when you're starting a business, it's very important for you to decide, one, how are you going to grow? And if for some people that might mean that they want to bring in additional equipment, they want to try different things, but you have to pace yourself with that. You can't see trends and just say, oh, I'm going to grab onto this, I want to grab onto that, I'm going to grab onto this, and hopes that that brings you the freedom and the money that you want. You have to really think about what it is that you want to bring into your business, what you want your brand to represent. And I know I wanted a simple vision for Nassau Script Company. I didn't want to be having my hands in so many pots. I wanted to run an efficient business that people know me for. When you want calligraphy on envelopes, you know where to go. If you want a handmade sign, you know where to go. And it's not this fielding through a sea of all of this stuff to figure out where to go. You know exactly where to go if you want a handwritten something, something.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree that you have absolutely done that. People know your work before they see it. Even if they just hear about it, it's like, that's Leanne. I know the value of what she does. I know the time that she really puts into it. And the difference is that, people can feel that. They can feel the effort behind the work. And one of the most important things that you mentioned as well is, when you do a lot of things, you lose yourself. And so you actually lose your why, you lose your vision for starting what you had. So one of the best things about you keeping your vision simple is that it helps you to stay focused. And it's something that a lot of your clients can relate to.
Yes, definitely. That focus, and you can hone your craft better. When you are trying to master too many things at once, you can't give all of these things the attention that it needs. So honing on your craft allows you to rise up above the crowd that you're trying to surpass when you are grasping at all of these things.
So true, so true. So in connection to the amazing work that you're doing, I must let you know that you have absolutely elevated the level of calligraphy here in the Bahamas. I remember when I was younger and a lot of those kind of handwriting books were really popular where you kind of like trace the wording.
Yeah.
My brother had one on calligraphy, and back then those really fancy pens that you would use for the hand lettering were very popular. And so that was really kind of my connection. It was something that seemed like fancy out there. It was popular in different cultures. It was expensive. And so with your company, seeing the work that you have done, a lot of persons may not have actually been familiar with calligraphy before then, or let it be something that they had easy access to. Mm-hmm. So tell us one thing about modern calligraphy that you want everyone to know.
One is that it definitely elevates your experience with your guests at your event. A handwritten name card, a name on a menu, that really takes your guest experience to the next level. And two, anyone can practice modern calligraphy with a little bit of diligence and a little bit of practice. I promise you, if you come to one of my happy hour classes, I will prove it to you.
Awesome. You hear that, guys? Christmas is coming up, fall, all those birthday parties, dinner parties, Christmas gifts. There's nothing like a handmade Christmas gift. So you got to make those envelopes and those cards pop. You can learn your calligraphy for yourself.
Yeah.
So we're all familiar with the phrase, each one teach one. Mm-hmm. You started off as a solo entrepreneur, and with your full crafting business, you have included teaching others how to create calligraphy. We've touched on this a bit by making the addition that mindfulness is a huge aspect of this. Mm-hmm. Why was it important for you to evolve your business into teaching others to do hand lettering?
Well, two things. One was I always liked teaching. I always enjoyed passing on information to people, but I knew I didn't want to do it full time, but I always felt drawn to teaching others. So I think it was just a matter of stepping into what I always wanted to do. I think at one point in my childhood, I wanted to be a teacher, but so that is being realized through this. And second of all, just when you deliver pieces to people and you have them say, oh, I could never do that. Oh, these are so beautiful. My handwriting is so terrible. And then they come to your class, like I said, especially the happy hour ones, because those lessons are so quick. And they can really see their progress so quickly. It really does bring me joy to see people go from a place of, I couldn't do this, to, oh, wow, I did this in 2 hours. And that, giving that gift to someone, not only impacts them for the time that they're with you, but it gives them, or it empowers them to try other things. So maybe they've been holding off on trying something that they don't think they could have done, and now they have this almost like this track record. Like, I tried this thing and I was able to do it, so let me try all these other things. And that's important to me too, to just give people a good feel good vibe. And thirdly, I want more people to have nice things.
I like that one.
It's one of those things where we live in such a trendy space now, right? So everybody's kind of like doing all these things because it's on trend or on brand. And there's something so nice when you do something because it feels good. So writing a note to a friend and you're not apologizing for your writing when you're handing them the note, or sing like, even if you're paying tithes and you write a little note to your pastor on the back of the tithe envelope, or all of those things make you feel good about gift giving, or they make you feel good about giving you having a dinner date and that sort of stuff. And all these little ways that you can incorporate calligraphy into your everyday life just feels good. And like, feelings of feeling good just makes the day and the event so much nicer. And that is truly something I enjoy, seeing the joy of people, or getting messages from people like, oh, look what I did this for my wedding, and blah blah blah. Having this thing like, wow, it's so great.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I can tell the passion behind it, because as you spoke, I can absolutely see it. I can feel it. And I know there are so many of your clients that are extremely appreciative of you just taking the time to be able to do that, because it's like, we don't understand as teachers or even entrepreneurs, like, the little things that we do make so much of a difference to other people. Just that example of you saying, persons, they try something, they always feel like, I'm never going to get it. I tried this other thing, I did it last year, like, nothing's working. And like, by you taking the time to like teach them this and walk them through it, they're like, I got it though. Like I'm connecting with it. Like, I'm actually good.
And it's a combination of having a space to try something new, and also their own personal desire to try something new. Yeah. So I can't undervalue how important it is for that internal drive to try something new and to be open to being bad at something in the beginning, or to be good in the beginning. When you're a beginner, nothing is going to look right. And your eye, and especially with calligraphy, your eye becomes a little bit more proficient before your hands. So you can see where you're going wrong, but eventually your hand will come along with muscle memory. But once you get it, once you can see the progress, that is really the gift is to the person who tried. So it's like, I can show you, but if you don't have that internal drive to try, then it's pointless.
Yeah, and there's this personal sense of victory. Like, hold something up and be like, I did this.
Yeah.
You do this? Like, this is me. Hey. Yeah. And it really gives them the confidence, because we never know what people kind of have in their minds as their dreams, right? So it even gives them that confidence to like, okay, now I can step out and I can do something bigger and better because I did this. Like, this is the beginning. That is so extra cool. One more thing I want to really applaud you for is not just through your hand lettering, but also the fact that you have created art through your calligraphy. So there's so many pieces where you involve colors, designs, a lot of your creativity. And that was something that was really unheard of here in the Bahamas. We hadn't seen it. It was unfamiliar, but once you came on the scene, you brought it, and now it's part of the norm. How did you know to merge those two things, art and hand lettering?
I don't know if I knew. I am a big proponent of trying things. So I can't take all the credit. There were clients who had incredible faith in my abilities and would say, hey, like, try this. Like, there's a party planner that I work with very often. And she will come to me with like these, like, can you put this thing on here? Can we add this? I'll be like, I don't know. And honestly, with enough notice, I have the time to try anything to see if that is going to work. So it's it was really my clients who say, hey, can we try this? Or my classmates from high school who knew that I was artistic from high school, and then they realized I opened this business, and they're like, oh, I just know that you could do this particular thing, you know, can we try it? And then that way, and then some things took off, some things didn't, and that's art sometimes. And I'm just glad that I had clients that believed in me, and that I believed in myself enough to say, hey, let's give us a try. And I wasn't so quick to say, I don't know if that's going to work. Things sometimes as simple as colors. Sometimes clients will come to you and a color combo just doesn't work well. And, you know, you have to advise, you have to try, but also you need enough time to advise them and say, hey, I think this color combination might work a little bit better, or maybe we might just want to leave this clear. And I'm just so grateful to the clients that I've had that are open to not only having me try something new, but they're being open to deviating from their original vision to create something beautiful together.
That is awesome. Having clients that are open-minded. Shout out to Nassau Script Co's clients, by the way. But you being open-minded, they being open-minded, you guys just working together, and you're like, you know what, let's create something that's beautiful, artistic, that stands out and just matches what you want.
Exactly.
So, of course, we've heard a lot about your offerings. A lot of us are excited. How can I get into calligraphy? So let us know about your upcoming classes, events, and everything else Nassau Script.
Okay, so to connect with me on social media, you can follow Nassau Script Co. That is where I post all of my new offerings as well as classes. If you are looking for a regular calligraphy class, I am teaching at least once a month at Ponciana Paper Press. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, as well as Eventbrite. All of their events are there. And while you're there, check out their other events. There's tons of events going on that's centered around book arts. So you can make a journal and then have me teach you how to make a journal.
Okay, there you go.
So that's how you can get in contact with me as a calligrapher, as well as how to get in contact with me as a teacher.
Nice. So Leanne, thank you so much for elevating modern calligraphy through your work and in a way that allows people to appreciate it a lot more. You have brought to light the sense of mindfulness behind it, and also empowering others to believe in themselves and to know that they can create something beautiful with their hands. Through your work, you have created endless memories and captured the vision of organizations with a keen eye for detail, creativity, and finesse. We applaud you for your contribution to the art world here in the Bahamas, as well as the Bahamian orange economy. As Leanne had stated, if you want to stay in contact with her and also updated on her latest events, follow her on Facebook and Instagram at Nassau Script Co. And you can also email her at hello@nassauScriptCo.com. As a reminder, this episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. A special thank you to our audience members for watching, and of course, our guest speaker, Leanne Key, whose captivating work and heart for teaching others continues to give us a glimpse into the incredible and artistic world of modern calligraphy. If you've missed the first half of this episode, you can watch the full replay on this page, and we also ask that you leave a heart in the comments. We invite you to follow this page for future updates, and join us next week for another episode of Vibration, where we raise your frequency and amplify your truth. Bye, everyone.
Bye.